All right. This is my favorite unit. Out of all the units, this is probably my favorite one. So we know that steps 1 and steps 2 are marketing out, lead comes in, but step 3 in both sides of the equation is the conversation. Whether you're setting an inspection appointment, you're going to go walk the property, or if you do like I do, completely virtual from this group, you get the contract, right? So let's break down the 5 steps to every conversation. The 5 steps to every conversation, I like to equate to going to the gym. What's the first thing you do when you go to the gym? You stretch out. You warm up, right? If you don't warm up, you're bound and determined to hurt yourself and hurt possibly those that are around you. The conversation is no different. So the first step in every conversation is you need to warm up. That's where we build rapport. And I'll go in deeper here in just a second, but let's stay focused on the 5 steps. Step number 2 is we bridge the gap. So at the gym, we don't just start bench pressing 300 pounds, right? We start out at 150, 175, 200, 250, right? We bridge the gap. We move the needle. The conversation is no different, right? So you move the needle from pleasure to professionalism, or from the fun stuff to the business stuff, however you want to look at it. You move the needle and start going in the direction that you need to go in. Step number 3, this is what I love. This is where you ask defeating questions. So let's think back. If we're at the gym, what happens when you get to rep 8? Rep 9, right? Like it gets a little harder. You're not any weaker than when you started, but your brain tends to play tricks on you, and your brain creates a limiting belief. If you ask defeating questions to your seller or to your buyer, it creates limiting beliefs, and then you have the leverage because the only one that they know, like, and trust is the person on the other side of the communication event, because they just can't do it without you. Step number 4 in every conversation, just like at the gym, when you're working out and you have this limiting belief, what do? You close out your set, right? You rack the bar. Remember that. Write down rack and remember that for the next module. But you close out your set, or in a conversation, you set the appointment, the objective, or you close the deal. You get the contract. And then last but surely not least, step number 5, this is where, like at the gym, you don't just pack up and leave. You actually stretch out, you cool off, or what I like to say is you warm down. So just like in the conversation, you're going to warm down. You're not just like, all right, Bob, thanks for selling me your house, click. No, you warm down. You ask questions about what you talked about in step 1. So let's go back a little bit and hear a little bit of better how that sounds, right? So step 1 and step 5 are the exact same. You're going to warm with form. That's right, form. F-O-R-M. You'll never truly solve someone's motivation if you don't know what they're for. So this stands for family, occupation, recreation, motivation. So you'll always solve someone's motivation if you know what they're for. So in step 1, you're going to ask 3 to 5 questions about their family, about their job or their occupation, and 3 to 5 questions about what they do for fun. So that conversation may sound like, hey, this is Bryce. How are you? Great. Hey, it sounds awfully quiet over there. You must be working from home like everybody else nowadays. Gosh, that's great. What kind of work do you do? Boom, now you're talking about work. How long have you been doing it? Man, does the wife or kids ever get in your way? Starting to talk about family. Oh, wow, they do. That's got to be frustrating. Notice what I'm doing there? I'll tell you a little bit more about that. How many kids do you have, right? Or how long have you been married? Now you're talking about work and family. Man, you got a lot on your plate. What kind of things do you do for fun? Oh, wow, you fish? Nice. What kind of fish do you enjoy catching? Wow, bass. Yeah, those can be fun to catch. What's the largest fish you've ever caught, right? Ask 3 to 5 questions about what they're for, and you'll always solve their motivation. Now, we bridge the gap by simply saying something that makes them feel like everybody else in the same situation. And what I mean by that is people love to be like other people, right? We've heard the term keeping up with the Joneses. So one way that I like to bridge the gap is like, hey, Bob, most people that I talk to want to know what I do and how I do it. But more importantly, they want to know how much I can offer for their house. Do you have those same types of questions? Of course they're going to say yes. And besides that, tell me, why are you looking to sell your house today? I'm going to firm it up. I'm going to bridge the gap. And now we can start talking about the business, right? It's giving them peace of mind that you know, like, and trust each other, that you care about them, right? Because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so when you talk about their family, their occupation, their recreation, and then you make them feel like everybody else that's been in their shoes, guess who's the savior? Guess who's the one that comes in and gets the deal 9 out of 10 times? Guys like I do, and guys and gals just like you that follow this process. Now, once we bridge the gap, step number 3, we're going to ask defeating questions. So I'm not just asking questions like how many bedrooms, how many baths, what's the square footage? No, sure, I ask those types of questions, but I do it in a way that makes them feel like I know what I'm talking about. So I'm like, hey, Bob, what's the address of the property you want to sell today? Oh, wow, it looks like your property's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. Is that correct? Notice the uptick. It creates a doubt or curiosity. No, it's actually 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Oh, fantastic. So you got a little bit more square footage than what you're getting taxed for. You're winning already. Tell me a little bit more about the place. And then shut up and listen. No matter what they say, you want to rack them. And I'm going to talk about that in the next video. So make a mental note. You wrote it down earlier. We're going to focus on the rack. So now once you've racked them and you ask a question like, wow, so you put a new kitchen in. How long ago was it that you did that? Notice the uptick on the end of that question. Every question that you ask should have an uptick at the end that makes it seem like you're curious, in turn doubting what they're saying, right? So when they put a new kitchen in, but it was 10 years ago, wow, you put a kitchen in 10 years ago? You probably agree that it's not up to 2020 standards, right? Boom, uptick. Or, oh wow, when was the last time you had that roof looked at? Right? Like that little uptick is like creates doubt, creates curiosity. And for this right here, this is a reason, this exact reason as to why I do this is because it yields more profit. You're not talking about price at this point. You're not trying to get to the offer. And at this point, if they're talking to you and they're answering your questions and they're pacing and mirroring and matching with you, guess what? You've got a deal and you're going to make more money on this deal than you would your normal deal. Now, let's go into step 4 when you go into the close. When you go into close a deal, you don't just simply say, here's my offer. No, you ask them, Bob, I really like this house. I'm curious. If I give you cash today, what's the absolute lowest amount you take for the property? Well, $100,000. Just know, if you don't do step 3, that $100,000 is more like $150,000. It's always going to be higher without the defeating questions. So when they give you a number, you simply ask, oh wow, $100,000. Where did you get that number? They'll tell you a realtor or Zillow or whatever. That makes sense. You got a realtor friend. So why haven't you listed it with them? Right? Well, and then they'll give you all the information that they need. Well, man, it definitely sounds like a house that I'm interested in. I know that we can probably get close to your number, if not, or, get your number or not, if not very close to it. So what I'd like to do is come take a look at the property. Or what I'd like to do is send my guys out to look at the property. So do you want the better news, the good news, or the better news? The good news is that I put my money where my mouth is. The better news is I'll actually come and look at the property, or I'll actually send someone out to look at the property before we sign anything. What's the best time to do that? Tomorrow morning or afternoon? Boom. Now you just got them nailed down on an appointment and not necessarily price. Just in turn, in doing so, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and effort when it starts to get to that negotiating factor. Now, once you set that appointment, you don't just hang up on me like, all right, Bob, I'll see you tomorrow. No. Man, Bob, I'm super excited that we got this checked off your list. You're going to warm down with form, right? You're going to have a conversation and ask them, how are you going to celebrate this win tonight? You going to go out to dinner, or are you going to order takeout? What are you going to do? Oh, yeah, we'll probably go out to dinner. Oh, nice. Dinner's always good. You going to take the whole family, or you're just going to eat by yourself? Right? Like, now you can talk about their family, their recreation, or maybe ask them if they need to get back to work and what kind of project they're working on or whatever, but you warm down with form. So let me recap 5 steps to every conversation. You warm up with form. You bridge the gap. You ask defeating questions, and then you go in for the close or the appointment or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, and then you warm down with form. I hope that makes sense to you. If it doesn't make sense, make sure you drop a comment in the group, ask questions with the hashtag questions, tag me, Bryce McKinley, Coach Sharpen. You know what time it is. Let's go.